Oh, what a night, what a game we had. Have you caught your breath now?
Yeah, I have now, to be fair. It was, like I said, had everything, both games, exciting to watch, and just a great example of what the Champions League can bring.
It was interesting seeing Kieran Trippier chatting to some of his mates on the field at the end there. All three of them were sort of shaking their heads. Does it sometimes feel in a game like that, even as a player, you're not really sure what's gone on? There's been so much happening.
There's some of it, I think you're so caught up in the game that you forget, the VAR moments, penalties, sendings off, all the goals we had. There was so much drama and not even a handshake at the end of it.
Yeah, what do you think of that? I mean, that's just, it's uncool, isn't it? Regardless of what's gone on.
You know what? I've got to respect him so much as a manager, Simeone, but I just think during the game, winding the crowd up, winding the players up, I understand it, but then not shaking hands at the end, I just think he lets himself down.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's petty. I think he handled himself well yesterday in regards to the remarks Jurgen Klopp made before the game. He didn't seem fazed by it, but then to not shake his hand and then to run off up the tunnel is a bit cowardly, in my opinion.
Listen, we're not making excuses for him because it isn't a good move at any time, but he is going to be an absolute ball of frustration right now. So many things annoyed him this evening. One of the big ones will be when you're trying to take a player off and for 6 minutes your substitute is standing on the side of the pitch. You don't get a chance to take the player off and then that player does something as daft as this to concede a penalty. Yeah,
like you say, 6 minutes, he was losing the plot about getting them on. He was asking his players to kick the ball off. And then Hermoso goes and has a rush of blood and, takes Jota out. And it was a ridiculous decision to earn himself a penalty. And it was a sort of get-out-of-jail-free card, really, just to complete... The ball lands to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it's an up and under. Hopeful ball, really. And you get it... I mean, they were doing it all evening, really, outside the box.
Look at this angle there.
But to do this inside the box, it's... you look straight at Jota,
but in
bundles him over.
Of VAR... It's even more ridiculous. You're never going to get away with that.
No, then to contest it is crazy. Again, great penalty from Salah, but yeah, the decision to make that challenge was stupid. And he may have thought he was outside the box, that he was trying to stop play to get himself off. But in regards to the outcome, Mo Salah, the coolest man.
And just touching on the penalty, that's a big moment in a high-pressure game. I think sometimes we just expect Salah to finish them, but I think we have to understand the pressure of that moment. For him just to slot it home so cool, he just knew it was going to happen.
He's got form taking penalties at that end of that stadium as well, don't forget. Just a quick line on Liverpool generally. That's now 21 games unbeaten for them. That now matches a record going back to 1989, and this is a team on the most incredible form now.
Yeah, they found their rhythm back this year, whether it's player personnel back in the team, but they all seem to be in sync. Again, the performance tonight wasn't as what we've seen in recent weeks of Liverpool, but the result was key.
Yeah, for all these good results, I think you're right to say that this evening they will breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. I mean, not least the fact that it could very easily have been 3-3 if the referee had gone to the monitor at the side of the pitch and come to a different decision. Yeah,
I think the right decision was made. I could see why it could have been a penalty, and I see why he blew the whistle at the start, but when he's reviewed it, I think Jimenez has made a meal of it. I think if he goes down with a bit more natural ease, I think he gives the pen.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's definitely dived, but I thought it was slightly clumsy, and I thought when he's given the penalty, I thought then he's not going to overturn it. But had it been the other way round, if he hadn't given the penalty, then I think he sticks with his decision. I think in the Premier League, that's what we'd have seen. But for him to overturn it, fair play to him in that stadium, under that kind of pressure, he made the decision, stuck to it.
And there is an element, I think, that as soon as the VAR officials ask him to go and have a look at it, they're kind of basically saying something's not quite right here, which impacts, I think, the decision he makes, even though we all think that perhaps he got the right one.
Yeah, I think we agree with that process in the Premier League, but in Europe we've seen it's kind of taken into the referee's hands. I think they're made clear that there may be a mistake, go and review it and come to your own conclusion. I don't think that's the case in the Premier League. I think it's kind of, you've made a mistake, let's change that decision.
You've got to be careful, though. I mean, Peter Walton was watching it and he said, there is the slightest bit of contact, but
that's the thing. There's no doubt that he makes the most of the push. He's gone over easy, but he's going to do that. But there is slight contact, so it could quite easily have been a penalty, that.
But in many ways, this is what the pitch sub monitor is there for. It allows the referee to see something that he can't see in real time.
Yeah, and I think he's just seen that Jimenez has gone down not naturally, so I think that's kind of tweaked it in Liverpool's favour. I think, as I said, if he just falls and collapses rather than spins and goes down with a bit more, less theatrical, I think he sticks with his decision and gives the penalty.
I think it looks even more clumsy because he's fell over him at the end there. And I just thought that, I mean, it could have gone either way. I think for him to overturn it was a big call from the referee. Fair play to him.
Particularly when you've got Diego Simeone about 10 yards away, staring at you. Tens of thousands of people in the stadium saying, don't do it. So, fair play, Daniel Siebert.
Strong decision from the referee, as I said, and I think it was the right one.
Strong decision from the ref. Strong start by Liverpool. This almost feels like it happened a week ago. But they started the game brilliantly, taking a 2-goal lead. Let's go through it.
Yeah, first 15 minutes, Liverpool. It was all Liverpool. You know, they couldn't get a touch, could they? And you know, we just thought it was business as usual. With Salah dancing around three of them and getting his goal. Obviously, we thought at first that Milner got a touch to this, but you know, it came off Kondogbia, and that'll go down as Salah's goal.
Yeah, great finish. But again, this now obviously doesn't know much about it, but as it comes to it, great connection. It's one of the ones you hit and it's just flush off your feet, and you know you've caught it so sweet. And to see it flying to the top corner was a great finish. Yeah,
it was terrible defending. A beautiful goal from Keita, but I think that was bittersweet. I think at this point he thought, you know, it was all going according to plan, but he got done for both goals, Keita, and then got dragged at half time. And I thought, if you look at both of the goals, which we'll see in a minute, he was disappointing on them.
Yeah, and we've mentioned how good their unbeaten run is. You know that in the 7 away games they've played so far this season, they've scored at least 3 in every single game.
Yeah, it's an incredible record. I mean, they're back to the year they won the title, and they were blue teams away. They're back to that form. Yeah.
OK, let's go through the contentious moment then, where there was a goal scored. It stood for Atletico, and we were questioning it in here. Peter Walton had a slightly different opinion of it. Peter, I think maybe the best thing is for us to watch it through, and maybe for you just to talk us through from a referee's perspective why you feel the right decision was made here, taking into account the laws of the game.
Yeah, well, we can see it when it's played here. The laws are quite specific. There's 3 points that make a player offside. The moment the ball's kicked, Lamar is always in an offside position, as you can see here when the ball's crossed through. He's offside position. The actual offence occurs if he attempts to play the ball, or he actually plays the ball, which he does neither. And the most contentious one is, does he impede his opponent from playing the ball? And that's the one we decided here. Does he impede Matip in playing the ball? And that's very subjective. And, of course, what the referee needs is that clear evidence that he does impede him. My opinion here, that he doesn't. Matip just stops there, thinking he's going to touch the ball, and should follow through. So the referee doesn't have that clear evidence to overturn his on-field decision, which, in fact, was the goal.
The first 2 points, Peter, you make there, Peter, I understand. The last one, in regards to him not impeding Matip, you honestly believe Matip doesn't attempt to kick that ball if Lamar is not there?
No, that's not the question actually, then, Julian. What I'm saying is that Matip, was he interfered with in attempting to play that ball? I don't think he was, and that's the law. You can't read what's in the mind of a player. I can only go what the law says, and the law's quite specific on there. Does he intentionally stop Matip from playing that ball? Yes. And that's a subjective viewpoint, and because it's subjective, that's where we should go with the on-field referee's decision, because we don't have the clear evidence to the contrary.
I think his presence hinders Matip clearing that ball. He's in his eye line, he jumps over the ball, and I think that affects Matip being able to go and clear the ball. It is a contentious decision, I agree with that, but for him to jump over the ball has to interfere with Matip's decision.
Do you get that, Peter? I mean, we've got 2 former players here, both saying that they believe if that player isn't there, Matip clears that ball.
Yeah, I can understand their viewpoint, and they're talking from a player's point of view. I'm just talking from the laws of the game, and the laws of the game are quite specific. Yeah, so, I'm not hiding behind the laws, I'm just saying what it is, and the referee there doesn't have that evidence to the contrary, so therefore he gives the goal.
What if that player is standing right in front of the goalkeeper, the ball gets played, he jumps up, the ball goes past him, he makes no attempt to play the ball, he jumps up, the ball goes under and it goes in?
Yeah, again, that's a great point, and that's actually interfering with the goalkeeper's vision. He didn't interfere with the vision of Matip there. Matip could clearly see the ball all the way through.
Yeah, but you can't kick the ball if the opposition player is standing where because he'd boot him and concede a penalty.
Well, again, I don't know that, do I? And I'm only going with the actions of the player. And the action of the player there is to jump over the ball, and Matip stops suddenly and lets the ball go through. So, again, with the goalkeeper, it's line of sight, with the player, it's when he interferes with the actual kicking motion.
Do you think the law is fit for purpose in this instance?
The law is there for the referee to arbitrate on, and the law is there really for the entertainment value of the game. So let's have more goals. Let's not chalk them off.
Oh, wow. Okay. Doesn't matter how they get scored or what happens.
Yeah, but to be honest, speaking from my, with an attacker's head on there, if that goal's not given, I would be fuming.
You would be fuming?
I would be angry. I would be.
With jumping over the ball and you know you've interfered.
I know, but I do think that there is. I still think it should be ruled out 100% with a letter of law. But if someone doesn't touch the ball and I've scored a goal, I would be fuming.
I just think that's an example of a law that is written by people that haven't experienced that, because there's no way he doesn't attempt to. I'm not saying he definitely clears it. There's no way he doesn't attempt to clear it.
That moment's hesitation that he has there is because he's in the way, Lamar.
100%.
Peter, just briefly, this is a recurring conversation, isn't it, about having footballers more central to either the laws or the interpretation of the laws?
Yeah. Well, it is, and the lawmakers have ex-players on their committees to give us those guidelines, and it's actually novel there that you've got a defender who's saying it's clearly interfering and a forward who's saying who'd moan about it. So, again, it depends on where on the field of play you actually play. So, but the lawmakers do have ex-professional players giving them some guidance.
Yeah, and Joleon's sitting there going, they must be forwards. They can't be defenders. No.
Well, one's Marco van Basten, so help you. There you go.
He knows a thing or two about the game, let's be fair. All right, thank you very much, Peter. Right, stay where you are. In a couple of minutes, we're going to hear from Jurgen Klopp, get his thoughts. There may have been a couple of decisions that people might not agree with, but the end results, Jurgen Klopp will be delighted with. I think this will be interesting. Stay where you are and get his post-match thoughts. Welcome back. What a fair play. Well said, him, just playing it down. You know what? He loves nights like this, doesn't he? He loves the battle, he loves the challenge, but more than anything else, he loves the win.
Yeah, 100%. And you touched on it then. The fact that they've won, regardless of how they do it, is irrelevant. It's just about getting the win on nights like this.
So what happens to you now? You just head home and chill out?
Yeah, it's been a long day.
It's all right. It's been a long day. Cheers, Rio. We've got another hour of fun to go.
3 hours with you, that's right.
That's unbelievable. If we allow him to be on the show, after the break, you'll see Champions League tonight with myself, Joe Cole, and possibly Peter Crouch. See you in a couple of minutes. Thanks very much, gentlemen. What a night.